Marriage is almost as old as dirt, and it was defined in the garden between Adam and Eve, one man, one woman, for life, till death do you part.
Well, well, looks like Kirk Cameron's at it again, and he doesn't deserve my special effects. Let's do this. So, when he's not going on about evolution, and don't get me started on that dumbassery, apparently Kirk Cameron has some pretty obnoxious opinions about marriage as well. Check it out.
So, I would never attempt to try to redefine marriage, and I don't think anyone else should either. So, do I support the idea of gay marriage? No, I don't.
So what I'm trying to figure out is how it's redefining marriage, when what we have are two people who've fallen in love, who are going to merge their lives together, who are going to spend the rest of their lives together. They're going to merge their living arrangements. They're going to be both legally and financially responsible for each other. I mean, that is marriage. So what if they happen to be the same sex instead of opposite sexes? Why is that, to you, the most important part of marriage? Why is it that they being opposite sexes is more important to you than whether or not they love each other? How is it redefining marriage? I mean, it seems to me that what you're doing is being a bigot and using religion as a cover to make it seem like it's not bigotry, that it's actually just you following some fucking rule that your God came up with. That doesn't make sense. I'm sorry, but you, my friend, are prejudiced.
Do you think homosexuality is a sin?
I think that it's unnatural. I think that it's detrimental and ultimately destructive to so many of the foundations of civilization.
It can only be detrimental to your way of life. But nobody says that your way of life is the one that should prevail, kiddo. So, I'm sorry, but again, prejudice. That's what it is. Preconceived notions of how the world should be that aren't going your way. That's the only possible way someone can look at homosexuality and call it destructive or detrimental. And unnatural, given that we can find examples of homosexuality outside of Homo sapiens in other animal species besides our own? I'm sorry, it can't possibly be unnatural. And what makes you think that it isn't a safety valve against overpopulation, for example? Once a species starts to reach a certain point where the resources are just getting too depleted, homosexuals start cropping up so that we start having fewer babies and the population starts to get back to a more manageable rate. I mean, what makes you think that's not how it happened? It could even happen that way if a God existed and you're just wrong about how he, she, it, or they feels about homosexuality. Think about it.
So what do you do if one of your 6 kids says, "Dad, bad news, I'm gay"?
I'd sit down and I'd have a heart-to-heart with them.
A heart-to-heart with him? I looked it up, pal. I know you have some daughters, too. You might end up with a lesbian. Think about it.
If one of my sons said that, I'd say, "That's great, son, as long as you're happy." What would you say?
Well, I wouldn't say that's great, son, as long as you're happy. I'm going to say, you know, there's all sorts of issues that we need to wrestle through in our life, and just because you feel one way doesn't mean we should act on everything that we feel.
Right. So just because you happen to feel that homosexuality is wrong doesn't mean you should act on it.
Some people would say that telling kids that being gay is a sin or getting married is a sin or whatever, that in itself is incredibly destructive and damaging in a country where 7 states now have legalized it.
Yes, but you have to also understand that you yourself are using a standard of morality to say that telling people such and such of a behavior is sinful. You're using a standard of morality to make that statement and say that that is terribly destructive. So everyone is going to have a standard.
And you think yours should prevail, don't you, Kirky Poo? Never mind that if ours wins, your life doesn't change at all. No one's saying that if gay marriage is legal, all of a sudden you have to get married to a man. No one's saying that. All we're saying is that if gay marriage is legal, we get to marry who we love, you get to marry who you love. Who is harmed? Think about it.
against which they...
Listen. I'm not an American. I'm making the point that 7 states in America have now legalized gay marriage.
Well, Piers, you're speaking to a man who is a Christian, and I believe that all of us are sinful.
And because you believe that, we all have to act as if we believe the same way? Fuck you, Kirk. Live your life your way. Let us live our lives our way.
I could stand at the top of the list and say that I need a savior and I need an overhaul of the heart more than anyone.
Well, on that at least we can agree. You definitely need an overhaul of the heart, asshole.
Your value system, my value system, we're all going to pick a standard against which we judge behavior morally. All of our laws, ultimately at their core, are going to be based on a moral evaluation.
But your moral evaluation doesn't seem to be about whether or not people are getting hurt. It seems to be about whether or not you feel comfortable. And that's selfish. Until next time, fellow space travelers, this is BionicDance saying don't run on automatic. Instead, please think. Please take the time to rate this video. And hey, if you dig what I do, subscribe. And please visit my Zazzle store, where you'll find all kinds of BionicDance merchandise. Rating videos has been found to cause fresher breath, enhanced metabolism, and greater sexual magnetism.